My name is Erling Strand, and I live in Norway, so that's a Norwegian name.
Okay. What is your training and profession?
I have been working as an assistant professor at the University College for many years. My background in technical background, computer science, computer communication, etc. So my teaching topic has been a technical thing, not basic science as that way.
Okay. How did you first experience the Hessdalen phenomenon?
I read about the Hessdalen phenomena in the newspaper and in the radio and television as well, reported about all the sightings which took place up in this Hessdalen Valley. And several people from all over Norway and also Scandinavia wanted to see it for themselves, and many people went up here. I and some other friends did also go here one day in late September 1982. And that is a day I remember.
Was that the first day that you saw the lights?
That date in late September 1982 was my first tour to Hessdalen, and it was my first sightings of the light phenomena in Hessdalen.
Can you tell us what you saw that first time?
Oh, it made a big impression on me. We were a small group which split in different locations on mountains here in Hessdalen. We was ready with cameras and communicated with walkie-talkie, and we were located in a way that it was possible to cross-correlate where the light was. That was important. I didn't believe we would see it the first night we were here. So lucky. But that happened. I and another group, another person of this group was standing on Mount Drescher and was looking towards south, and there I saw the light. It was so bright. Before I maybe thought, well, it's maybe if I'm lucky I see a small light moving, but it was huge. It was bright. It did even illuminate the ground beneath it. And you can, was standing out in the mountain as the other one, completely dark, no cottage, not light at all, dark. You can see streaming of the mountains, you know, and there, below the mountains, there was the light. I was so surprised how strong it was. Wouldn't have imagined how strong it could be. Intense light. And then it started to move and stopped. And moved again and stopped. And it continued with this movement and stopping for, I think it's more than 1.5 hours, close to 2 hours. And the other team, which was located on another location in the mountains, did also see it. So we could cross-correlate where it was located, so we know exactly the distance and so on. That team did actually see it better because they were closer to the light itself. And made a big impression. What started to show up that this light started to make a beam of light up in the air and also down on the ground, and stop and beam on the ground again. From my location, I saw only the beams of light going up in the air, but the other group saw it when it was beaming also light down to the ground. And it was moving, stopping, moving, more than 1.5 hours. I could also say that the other group, which saw it closer, on one occasion was a little bit afraid, because on one part of the sighting the light was moving towards their position. When it turned on the light pointing down on the ground and come closer and closer, and I was afraid what happened when this spotlight hit us and they see us. But luckily that did not happen. They
Did it turn away or did it go out?
It just disappeared.
Wow. Now, when it was on, was the light steady or was it getting brighter and dimmer? Was it pulsing or?
I got the impression that when it was on, the light intensity was quite steady. I did not see any flickering or something. It was quite steady, I will say.
And when it moved around, was it in a straight line or was it moving up and down or back and forth?
The light was moving in all different directions, even up and down and back and forth. So there was no structure in the movement. This was any direction.
Wow. And this was the first time you went out to look. This is what you saw.
That sighting with the light, with the beams, was my first observation of the Hessdalen light. And of course, I remember it made such impression on me. I remember it very well.
That sighting changed your life, didn't it?
That sighting changed my life because, well, at that time, that was back in 1982, I was working as a researcher in Oslo, main capital. And when I come back to my job in a research department, I had to talk with other companions about it, of course. And some of them say, don't get involved in that. You know, they called it UFO. Don't get involved in UFO business. That could ruin your career, some said.
Well, obviously you didn't listen to them.
That made me even more curious. And of course, I was a researcher, and a researcher should investigate the unknown. And I got the feeling also that very few people actually had investigated such kind of light. So I thought, well, maybe we're not that big job finding the solution. So we decided, a group of us, to start this Project Hessdalen and gather some instruments up in this valley for staying here some weeks with instruments, not only sightings and cameras, to collect data.
So what year did you start Project Hessdalen?
Project Hessdalen did we start in the summer of 1983. My first sighting was in September 1982, close to nearly 1 year before we decided to start Project Hessdalen. And when we started it in the summer of 1983, we started to preparing a field work in the Hessdalen itself, collecting instruments, people, and preparing our topic.
So there was really no model on which to build your research plans. How did you come up with the plans for your research?
What kind of instruments we should use was, of course, an important question. And, we only knew that there was light, it was moving, could move very fast, and what kind of instrument should we use to find a solution on what this could be? Well, we discussed, of course, and we heard of some theories. For instance, some have claimed that this has something to do with the movement in mountains, earth crust, and so on. So we will come up with a seismograph to measure any movement in the ground. We have heard, people have said that there is some disturbances on radio and television when this happened. So then we decided we have to have instruments which can look through all the frequencies in the electromagnetic band, and so on. So we discussed what you have heard and what we thought would be good instrument to use.
And how many times do you think you've adjusted your approach over the years? Because as technology advances, the different instruments are available. So how many times do you think you've changed course and tried to change different strategies?
The instruments we started using back in 1984 was, of course, state of the art back in 1984, which is completely different from what is now. But we managed to get some data with that instruments as well. During the years, we had two fieldworks back in 84 and 85, due to the fact that we managed to get so much data in the first fieldwork in January and February 1984, we decided to plan a new fieldwork next year in 1985, which we did. But at that time, the amount of sightings was decreased very much. There was close to non-sightings. There was one good one though, but compared with 1984, where we got more than 50 good ones, we believe that now it's gone. So we didn't plan anything after 1985. The years went on, and it was in 1993 that the inhabitants up here, which had helped us a lot during the first field works in 1984 and 85, they wanted to know what had happened since, what have we used that data for, and so on. So they asked me to come up here. That was in 1993, in October, to have a presentation, tell them what we had done. I told them about the different conferences I've been to, the different scientists I've discussed this with, and that I felt there was a growing interest among scientists on the topic. They was very pleased with that, and I pointed out that it was pity it has stopped. After my presentation for the people up here, one person came up to me and said, well, it hasn't stopped. It still continues. What? I said, still continue? Yeah, we don't tell it anymore, he said. We don't want to tell it. Oh, because we were so ridiculed in the press in 84 and 85 when we started to talk about it. And they didn't want to be ridiculed anymore. So they shut their mouths.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame.
But I thought, well, it still continued. Maybe we should start Project Hessdalen again. At that time, I was teaching at the university college as technical thing, and my students. And I decided to build an automatic station instead of gathering a lot of people staying up here for some weeks. Maybe we could have an automatic station which could be in operation all the time. So we started to build what we now call the Blue Box, which is still in operation.
Can you describe what the function and the measurements that the Blue Box performs?
The Blue Box have had several different instruments inside, but the main thing has been camera and video recording system, so we could see how it moves, and we have also had a period with other instruments, both magnetical instrument, magnetical field detection, very low frequency electromagnetic radiation. But you know, in the rough environment which the Blue Box is, cold winter, not close people, it's hard to get these instruments running all the time. So we have had some instruments running for a period of time, but not longer, and some other instruments. So it hasn't been a continuous long period with many different instruments running, which should have been, of course. But the camera has been in operation much of the time. So that camera has captured something interesting.
Now, all of the observations from the Blue Box you make available to the public, you share with the public and other scientists, is that correct?
I decided to share all the data with everyone who was interested. That's not normal for a scientist and scientists want to collect data himself and investigate the data and write a paper on it. I could have done that, but I decided I'm not that expert in. I want the best expert in the world to see the data and come with a solution. So I decided, well, I give them free out so they can look at the data themselves and study without any. So that's my decision.
What has been the reaction from other scientists to the data that you've shared with them?
The reaction from other scientists when I share the data, some of them has been very interested and study the data, and some of them have even come up with their own papers based on the data I have given them. That's very good, because I want there should be a discussion. It seems that the solution isn't that easy. So I want the discussion among scientists what this could be. So that is important for me to give it free. Of course, normal scientists will have collected data and read it, but I don't think I would be clever enough to come with a very good solution. So,
well, you're kind of a pioneer. There's not like anybody has done this type of work before, so it's great that you're sharing it with the scientific community. Have you found that people's attitudes have changed over the years? They've become more accepting, more willing to look at your work?
The people's attitude to the work and the science behind this strange phenomena has changed to the better. And that has also been one of my goals, is not only to present the scientific data behind it, but also show them, put out the videos or films and stories from people and so on, so they know there is something going on here. So it has been more and more accepted. Also, there has been a lot of people up here seeing them for themselves. That also helps, of course. We have involved students also to be here to see it for themselves. So slowly I got the impression that more and more people accept this as a real phenomenon.
How would you describe the range of the phenomena that people have witnessed? Just give it an overview of the different types of phenomena that people have witnessed.
There has been several observations, many observations from people during the years from where it started. And it is can be quite different, the different sightings, the different descriptions. So we have decided to put them in 3 or 4 different boxes with typical characteristics. One box is the flashing light, which can last for up to a couple of seconds, but mostly less than a second. It can move and can blue and white and some characteristics. The next type or the next description is yellow, mostly yellow lights, like the one I saw the first time. Yellow type with different shapes, some oval shapes around, but also other strange shapes. Can move slowly, can stand still for hours or 2 hours at the most. It can move very fast. We measure the speed of 30,000 kilometers an hour on the one of our instruments. So, and it can be seen for some minutes moving, or it can, so it has some such kind of characteristics. We decide that is type 2. We have been in discussion if we should split that type in several different types, because this yellowish light can be quite different. But we have decided to have that in one type. The third type is where you have several lights together, as if they are connected to some object type. Because when these lights are moving, they are moving as if they are connected to some kind of object. On some occasion, when it's not completely dark outside, this object has also been seen, and they call it a black object. So it's normally a black object with lights on it.
Now, the lights on this third type, do they stay the same relative distance from each other?
Sometimes the distance between the lights on this type 3 is steady, but we have also report from where this light can move on to this object. So not always steady. It can also move. The fourth type, and maybe the most exciting, is the daylight observation. What people would call a UFO. Disc shapes, cigar shapes, moving with sometimes with a light in front of it, as it has a searchlight or something. Sadly, this type is seldom. You are lucky if you see something of this type. But it has happened, and when you see that, and see that in the daytime, that make a very strong impression. But lately, it seems that in the daytime, it can show up lights as well, similar as type 2 with this yellowish light with strange shapes. On one occasion there was even a flying disc shape, but some of them are different kind of shapes. If we should put that in the box of fourth or flying disc of UFO in that sense, so far we have put them in type 2, which are mostly seen in the nighttime with this type 2. I should also say that type 1, 2, and 3, the lights, are mostly seen when it's dark outside. Could be because it's easier to see a light when it's dark outside. Could be as simple as that.
Now, you mentioned the daylight sightings. About how large have these objects been reported to be?
The daylight sightings, how big they can be. There are different kind of sizes. Some have mentioned big as a truck when it has been relatively close. Some smaller, 2 to 3 meters, based on triangulation. We have had also very small. On one occasion, there was a red light moving around our fields. That was very small, just a centimeter or 2. So you have all different kind of sizes. Could also mention that one person up here saw a light close to a cottage, and he believed it was the cottage who was in fire. So he went up there in the darkness to see if he could save something. But when he came all the way up to the cottage, about 50 meters away, come out from the forest so he could see the cottage in front, he saw it wasn't the cottage in fire. It was a light as big as the cottage, and that was 10 meters in diameter. And they explained it was the sharp end on down, and it slowly went down to the ground. When it touched the ground, it jumped up again and slowly went down again and continued for a long period of time. Wow.
Hey, Scott, let me cut there. Camera's rolling. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Talking a little bit more about the lights, do the lights ever appear to interact with each other?
The lights can, not often, but do some kind of interaction with people. Some people have told that they feel there has been some kind of interaction. We did also a test with pointing a laser beam, very weak, towards a light, and it changed behavior. So it seems that sometimes there may be some kind of interaction. It's difficult to talk about, because is it an interaction or not? Is it such kind of topic can be discussed? But for me, with the test I was part of, for me it was a real interaction.
So this object was reacting to the laser light that you were shining.
We was using a weak laser, red laser, pointing towards a flashing light with a regular flashing. We expected that it could go away, because people have told us before that they have used a strong spotlight pointing towards the light, and they said when we did that, it disappeared, they said. We wanted to test if that was the case, but instead of a big spotlight, we use a smaller red laser instead. Very weak, 1 milliwatt, and this flashing light, when we pointed the laser towards it, it doubled the flashing frequency. We was very surprised. We didn't expect that at all. We hoped it should disappear, and to confirm what the other person had told us about their experience. No, it doubled the flashing frequency. We took the laser down again, and the flashing went back to how it was from original. We took the laser up again, and it doubled the frequency. And we did that test for totally 9 times, 9 different times. And on 8 of those times, there was this double frequency response. We was also, the time we used pointing the laser towards the light was different each time. And the time we had the laser down to see it goes back to normal frequency again was also different. So we didn't, so we could see it was absolutely a response to our action.
Have the lights ever had interactions with local witnesses?
Some people have claimed that there has been some kind of interaction. Some have claimed some mentally interaction. We have stories, not many, very few. But when people see more a daylight object, sugar-shaped, stopping in front of him, and he said, it communicated with me, he said. So it has happened, but very, very seldom. So we don't put that happening in combination with the Hessdalen phenomena, because it's too few, but it has happened.
Have the lights ever followed people or moved away from them if people tried to, reacted to their presence?
We don't have any witness reports which tell clearly that the lights move away from them or are attracted to them. That is all very subjective too. So that has not been a part of the system.
What are some of the theories that people have proposed to explain the lights?
The theories which people or scientists has come up with has been many different types of theories. Some of them, of course, mention that their theory fit with our observation or with our instrumentation readings, but the problem with the different theories which the scientists come up with is that it's not one theory which fit with all the different type of observation. One theory may fit for some of the observation. Another theory may fit for another type of observation, but you don't have one who fit for everyone. But that has brought our mind to the topic that it could be different solution, not only one solution on what it could be. So that's also one of the reasons I call it the Hessdalen phenomena and not phenomenon, because it opened up for different solutions of what it could be. But if there is different solution, why does all this happen in this small valley?
So, can you give us a brief description of the unique nature of this valley, of the Hessdalen Valley, the geology, the vegetation, the water? Just give us an overview of what makes this place special.
Hessdalen is a small Norwegian valley. It's about 15 kilometers, about 10 miles long, not big, 4 to 5 kilometers wide. It's a river floating between mountains in the east and mountains in the west. There's a lot of minerals in the ground. It's part of this Røros area with a lot of minerals, a lot of old mines. So you can even find old mines here in Hessdalen because of the ground. There's a lot of minerals in the ground. So, but the mountains in the west and the east is approximately 1,000 meters high above sea level. And on the bottom, if I remember correctly, it's about 500 meters or something. But so it's a not any specific valley other than it's small. The only specific thing is that we know it's a lot of minerals in it.
There's more minerals in the valley than other surrounding regions?
The amount of minerals in the Hessdalen Valley, I don't think it's especially more than the nearby districts in Hessdalen. So but we know there is a lot, and we have had scientists who had done measurements on the properties of the ground, and one of the interesting thing is that they have found places in the ground up in the mountains where it seems like an electrical wire had been digged down in the ground is it can conduct electrical current very easily. So, and we have also some specific areas here with a high magnetical activity, high magnetical intensity. But if that is giving us a solution on what this is, well, I don't know.
So what are the minerals, the primary minerals that are found here?
The minerals in Hessdalen are different. Some iron, you have copper, you have sulfur, and so there has been mines for all these, iron, copper, sulfur, but there are also other minerals around here, which makes the whole valley interesting for companies who are looking for minerals in the ground.
Is there active mining going on here now?
There's no active mining going on in Hessdalen now. The last copper mine close to Hessdalen was closed in 1986. So after 1986, there's been no mining activity in Hessdalen or nearby.
Okay. I had heard that there was a mineral here, and I'm not sure this is correct. Scandium, is that a mineral that's found here?
On one, the mineral scandium was discovered in one with analyzing one of the lights we got. So we managed to take a good picture of the Hessdalen phenomena with the optical grating in front of the camera in the way that you get the optical spectrum of the light. And by analyzing that optical spectrum on 2 pictures, I think, the computer come up with scandium as one interesting minerals, combined with other minerals as well. But scandium is an interesting mineral, but there's not been any mining or anything like that. It just showed up by analyzing the optical spectrum from one of the pictures.
So this phenomena actually, did it help with the discovery of scandium, or was it known before?
Scandium is known before.
Okay.
It's actually minerals can be used in building planes, and the scandium has a history. It's relatively rare. It's not very easy to find, but there is that mineral in Scandinavia. That's the reason why the name scandium. But it's not very common to see that minerals.
So, but the spectrum of those particular photographs showed that there was scandium in one of the lights?
We analyzed the optical spectrum from the pictures, on the pictures we have taken from this, and we have taken that optical spectrum into a computer analyzing, and that computer came up with possible scandium on 2 pictures.
That's really interesting. I'm trying to think how a mineral could be in the active light moving, moving around the landscape like that. All right. How do you think the locals, you mentioned earlier that the locals weren't very open because they didn't want to be ridiculed. But in your experience, how do the local people feel about the lights?
The local people now think it's completely okay. Because in general, the people, the population in general, and the scientists accept the real the Hessdalen phenomena as a real phenomena going on here. So their people telling about stories are not ridiculed anymore. So that has changed a lot, I think. They don't need to be afraid of telling about their sightings. And that's great.
I have found talking to people that see these lights in different places that they're often very relieved and happy to share their stories. Can you think of any exceptional stories that people have shared with you about their experiences?
The different stories from people, not only people living here, but also other people, can span from a wide area of descriptions. Very often these sightings have made a big impression on them. Mostly it is. And on many occasions it's also the first sighting, which normally make a big impression. But it's difficult to pick up some specific observation which can say is typical. It's a variety of different observation. So that is one of the things which make it difficult to find a solution.
So you feel there may be several different things going on. It's not just one phenomenon, and that it might require a variety of explanations to account for what's happening.
Based on the fact that there is so big difference, both in measurements and description of this phenomena, make us believe that it may be different solution, not only one solution, but maybe different kind of solutions.
So what are your goals for Project Hessdalen? What do you hope to study in the future?
I'm quite sure whatever this phenomena is, it's very important. It will bring new knowledge from our nature, probably, if it's part of nature. New knowledge which we are not aware of yet. And that knowledge, if that's how big this is, how important it is, it's hard to say before we know it. But I'm quite sure it's a new important knowledge. I think it's important to know our nature as much as possible, so we know how to treat the nature itself. And another big question is, where does all this energy in the light come from? Is there an energy we can use?
Now, you've been very persistent. I admire your persistence and your dedication to the project. How have your colleagues reacted? Have you had any kind of, are they encouraging? Have you had any kind of negative consequences for your work with Project Hessdalen?
From my colleagues, I haven't heard any negative comments. They've all been curious. And I think that's natural, because it's an unknown phenomena which we know are present. One of the key things is to not only get data on it, but to prove that it is a real phenomena which need to be studied. And I feel that we have managed that, or contributed with that thing, among other people also as well.
Now, there is a challenge to people studying UFOs or unexplained aerial phenomena among regular science or traditional scientists, why do you think there's a hesitancy to study the topic?
Why it's difficult, or why so few people or so few scientists go in and study it, it's hard to say. Maybe they think that they never know when it happened, so it's difficult to set up a big, costly science investigation based on the fact that there is very not 100% sure you ever will see something. So that's probably one important reason why there hadn't been done so much. But I think if you start investigating, if you don't manage to capture the light itself, you can investigate the location, interview people. Is there other different strange thing in the valley? There's a lot of things you can find out, even if you don't get to measure the phenomenon itself. But if you are here with instruments, which we are now with Project Hessdalen Blue Box, we are ready when they come.
Fantastic. I think that's a great wrap up.
Scott, do you want to talk to him about the drones at all?
I was going to say that for Fred, but if you all right, I'll ask both of you separately. Okay. Have you heard of anyone having any trouble flying drones in the valley?
Drone pilots, those who fly drones, has come up with stories about strange behavior of their drones. Many different type of description, but they have been very unexpected behavior of the drones. I could also mention that not only drones, but also cars, electrical cars. Maybe I shouldn't
No, please
let
do.
people be afraid of taking their car up here. I've been here with my car many times, safe, but my car has on some occasions behaved strange. It's as if there is something disturbing the electronics. For instance, on one occasion, the door opened when it was standing still without any pushing a button. And we have also the door of a car, which you can push a button, it locked. And another button, it's open, this key. On one occasion, without any key, this door was smashed on, open, on, open, on, open, on, all the time. Could indicate some kind of electrical or magnetical influence of some kind. My guessing, though.
That's a great story. Now, well, that's one of the things you're measuring, right? Is the electrical and the magnetic profile of the valley.
Yeah. I'm sold based on that.
Well, Erling, you've been one of my heroes for a long time. I commend you for your work. You've been an inspiration. I see the major change, the effect that you've had on the world and getting people to take seriously, the topic, and to be brave themselves and go out and study the unknown. It's an honor to speak with you. Thank you so much for the chance.
Thank you.
The Living Sky.